This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire, the no-show. Who set you back because they didn't show up on day one, or day two, or ever again. And now your product launch is delayed because you're talking to alien abduction podcasters to track them down. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can help make sure your next hire sticks. In fact, businesses who use LinkedIn are 24% less likely to reopen a role in the next 12 months. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends, where we're going to take a deep dive into the lore of the Star Wars universe.
Hello and welcome to the Holocron Histories podcast. You know, we were talking that I almost said the Assassin's Creed podcast, and I don't even intro that one. So that's where my brain's at today. But I am your host, Austin, otherwise known as Teacup. I am one of your co-hosts for this podcast.
And I am the other co-host, Ben of Temeria.
Yeah, and so we are talking about a new topic today. It talks about all of my podcasts are kind of entering new seasons of their conversation, so that makes it fun. But today we are moving away from our factions of the galaxies, our governments of the galaxies, to something that is probably my second favorite part of Star Wars after the lightsabers.
Yes, we are going to go over starships now. And obviously, the one we have to start with has to be the Star Destroyer, or the Venator class starships, because that's what they are from the Clone Wars. I mean, it's the most iconic ship next to like the X-wing and the TIE Fighter.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the first. So we see the Tantive 4 and the it's not the Executor, it's like the Execurix or something like that. Tarkin's.
It's Tarkin's.
Yeah. And so it's the second ship we see in the entirety of Star Wars if you're starting from release order.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad sitting me down to watch this movie when I was 4 years old, and I see that little spaceship fly by, and then it's just like a solid 20 seconds of the Star Destroyer coming across too, and I just remember with my eyes wide, like, what is that?
Yeah, you see the oh god, you just said the name. It just escaped my mind.
The Tantive 4.
Tantive 4, yes. It's a Corvette?
I forget
Is it a Corvette?
Yeah, it is a Corvette light cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
It's a class of vehicle, it is.
And you first see that, and then literally a couple of seconds later, you see this massive ship, and I was like, can that little thing outrun the giant one? Obviously not, because it doesn't end well for the Tantive 4.
No,
but
it's not.
But yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, we always start with Legends, so we are going to go with the early designs of the Star Destroyer / Venator class. So they are they're wedge-shaped warships. Seem to be an ancient trend dating far back to 4 millennia before the rise of the Galactic Empire. The design was not limited to any one culture, but been observed frequently in both Galactic Republic and Sith Empire navies.
Yeah, and when reading that, I'm thinking about so there are so many different types of ships we see And they all kind of have that, like, wedge shape to them,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because when you think about, like, aircrafts, they're typically kind of to a point to make them aerodynamic, so they cut through the air.
And it always helps also with being wedge-shaped to where they can ram other vessels, or even, like, being in Star Wars, go through an asteroid field and stuff like that, to where it's not destroying the entire hull, where it hits one point and just, like, bounces off kind of a thing.
Right. And even the whole point of, like, if you're a fan of KOTOR, or you even watched Rebels and Rogue One, the Hammerhead class cruisers are that's the same thing. And watching in Rogue One, when they take down the Star Destroyer by ramming the hammerheads into the wings of the Star Destroyer, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that's another ship we'll have to go into, is the Hammerhead, because not only are we see them in the current canon, we see them plenty of times in the Legends. And if you ever play KOTOR 1 and 2, they're the main warship that the Republic uses, actually.
Yeah, and definitely. And I believe the Ravager, Nihilus's flagship, is a wedge-shaped kind of Star Destroyer shape. The other Sith fleet in at least the KOTOR games, I can't really remember what they look like in the Old Republic MMO, but they're kind of closer akin to the Banking Clan ships from the Separatists.
Yes.
That's the big ones. Yeah.
Yep. But funny enough that you say about the Ravager, we're actually going to about to be talking about that one.
Oh, all right.
During the Mandalorian Wars, 3,963 years before the Battle of Yavin, a Venator-like warship was used by the fleets of the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders during the same conflict. The wedge-shaped Interdictor-class cruiser and the Centurion-class battlecruiser were employed by the Galactic Republic and later served in the navy of the Sith Empire, established by Darth Revan. Examples of these ships include the Leviathan and the Ravager. Yeah. Gotta love the Ravager.
Don't end up well in their stories.
No, not at all. The first design, explicitly referred as a Star Destroyer, was the Horror-class dreadnought of the resurgent Sith Empire. This design originated with Grand Moff Ord Valken as part of the Empire's build-up in the 1300 years that preceded the Great Galactic War. These ships eventually fought in this 28-year-long conflict against the Republic. And as I've said previously in other episodes, the Great Galactic War is the war during the Old Republic MMO. And yes, it took almost 30 years. So, I mean, all the wars we see in the films are roughly 3, maybe 5 years long, if that. Where when you talk about Legends, a lot of the conflicts are a lot longer.
Well, you could look at the Rebellion, so it all depends on when you classify, like,
That's
the
a good
start
point.
of the Rebellion. Is the start of the Rebellion Scarif? Is, in previous canon, the start of, like, the official start of the Rebellion was Yavin.
True.
Which they're really close to each other. Scarif and Yavin are really close to each other in time. But I would argue that the Rebellion really, especially in the main canon, starts way before, like, a decade before either of those conflicts.
That's true.
We see that in Rebels.
Yep. I was about to say. We kind of start seeing it in Obi-Wan.
Right.
Which is even before Rebels.
Yeah, and you could I would probably argue that, like, the end of, like, season 2 of Rebels is where I would probably say the start of the Rebellion, because that's when they start kind of, like, forming to, like,
that's when groups. Like, the small cells that knew nothing about each other started, forming hey, we're an actual big group, now we're gonna go do stuff all together.
Right. And that's when, like, Thrawn comes in and they stop tracing, like, the Ghost crew and start, like, chasing the actual, like, Rebellion. So I think that's where I would say the start of the Rebellion. So if you consider that, it's probably like a close 10 years, 15
I was going to
years
say
conflict.
it's probably be around a decade, because... And I know this
Twins
is off topic.
are 19. They're 19 in A New Hope.
Yes, so this
Right?
is...
Yeah.
And Rebels takes place 5 years prior to A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that'd be 10 years, because it's
be almost a
roughly
decade.
5 to something, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then we get to the Clone Wars developments. Star Destroyers that bore the distinctive wedge-shaped, which came in association with the ship type, were in the service of the later Republic Navy around the time of the Clone Wars. The two most famous designs at the time were the Victory 1 and Venator classes, which were considered massive. Other Republic Star Destroyers like the Imperator and the Tector classes became infamous in their service in the Imperial Navy. So, if I'm not mistaken, so we look into Star Wars Rebels, for example. The smaller version looking Star Destroyers we see that aren't the Star Destroyers, I believe are the Imperator class. I believe. I could be wrong on that. Starships isn't my full forte. There's too many of them.
I'm having trouble actually seeing the difference between the two, so...
That's
in their
fair.
pictures, at least, so...
That's fair. So, and then the new Star Destroyer designs were born from the success of the Acclamator class assault ship. In addition, the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic and future Galactic Emperor Palpatine mentioned in his Sith Compendium, the Book of the Sith, the Star Destroyers developed during this time were also shared similarities with the Horror-class Dreadnought, which was used by the Sith Empire. Which, I mean, is a no-brainer for a Sith to reuse, Sith tech or Sith designs when they haven't been used in, thousands of years. That's a good edge in battle.
Right. It makes me interesting because it makes me wonder, how much influence, Palpatine had in the design of the clone army. Because I always assumed that, the Venator class and the Victory class were Kaminoan in design.
Ooh, that is a good... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had some sort of input in the background. I mean, we all know, wasn't it... Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Dooku who impersonated Cypher Diaz to create the clone army?
Yes, and
Okay.
then when the contract for the Republic comes on with the clones, and we'll talk about this in some later episode probably, but so obviously we know from the Clone Wars that Shaak Ti becomes the overseer of the facilities of the Jedi representative to the Kaminoans.
Mm-hmm.
But it's revealed in the Clone Wars that the Prime Minister has very, very close conversations with Sidious and Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be interesting to me. I mean, part of it is just George Lucas being hey, look, these become these, and Star Wars is like poetry, it rhymes. But I'd be curious if there's an actual explanation.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we get to the Imperial and New Republic usage. During the time of the Empire, many smaller and less independent dagger-shaped ships, such as the Immobilizer 418 cruiser and the Broadside-class cruiser, were often compared to two small Star Destroyers without being classified one themselves. In the Broadside's case, it was downgraded from a Star Destroyer to cruiser due to its lack of defensive power and mobility, in large part because of the Star Destroyer's capabilities. Mon Mothma, the leader of the Rebel Alliance, noted that if the Empire fragmented after Endor, it would pose a risk for any Imperial commanders with access to Star Destroyer becoming a warlord. Which,
They do.
They do. They became warlords. I mean, I think we talked about that on an earlier episode. Yeah, the fragmented empire became warlords. I mean,
so the Immobilizer Star Destroyer, the Immobilizer Cruiser, that's the ones that you see in Rebels that are pulling ships out of hyperspace.
okay.
Yeah, with the big like circular thing, like spheres on them, and they use gravity to pull ships out of hyperspace, which is terrifying.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt.
Right, which like, if you hyperspace is extremely fast, and
just to pull anything out of hyperspace alone is terrifying.
Right. Like, I'm pretty sure that it is faster than the FTL speeds that is used in the Mass Effect series, even though they're kind of similar.
Yes. Yeah, if I think about it, I think, yes, I believe that is correct.
So it's just ridiculous.
So
another list.
Yeah.
How hyperspace works.
Oh, crap. That's a whole... That's going to be a whole process. How hyperspace works. I don't know.
Magic space waves.
Yes. There we go. Solution granted. Magic space whales. That's basically what it is. So, while Star Destroyers served as the heaviest combatants in many fleets composed of frigates and downscaled cruisers, they performed an escort role when in the presence of specialized battleships found in the Republic Navy or the larger Imperial warships such as the Executor class. Both the Republic and the Empire maintained a higher tier system of vessels, heavier and more powerful than Star Destroyers, categorized from battle cruisers to star dreadnoughts. Star dreadnoughts are also terrifying. And then, building on the popularity of Star Destroyers gained in the Clone Wars, and the name of the Super class Star Destroyer, many of these heavy vessels were referred in the military. I don't even know how to say this word. Colosseum?
It's colloquial. Like you say something colloquial. Now I can't say it. But
as a super, they were referred the military. A lot of the military personnel referred them to Super Star Destroyers. The Imperial Navy had around 25,000 ISDs alone throughout its existence, and wow. ISD is Imperial Star Destroyer, if I recall.
Right.
So they had 25,000 Star Destroyers ready to mobilize.
Right. And the Super Star Destroyers, that's the Executor.
Yes.
Which is Vader's flagship. That really big one that we see in Empire and later in Return of the Jedi.
Which is about 5 times larger?
It's pretty big. Like, I'm pretty sure you can land
you can land as a regular Star Destroyer on it or within it or one of the two. It's massive. That's yeah.
Of course, Anakin would make the biggest ship. Like that just his personality.
I have to have the biggest ship. I still love, and this is off topic, kind of. They did a Lego. One of the Lego shorts they did for Star Wars, where like these random pilots come in on a Star Destroyer, and like they were freaking out about they saw this one ship, and Vader's like, what made you like board us, and why are you trying to run away? And it's like, what's more important? And he looks, it's like that, and he points to an N1 Naboo starfighter, and Vader just freaks out and goes all nerd on the starship. And that's like, of course he does. I'm not
sure
surprised.
He does something like, I blew up a droid ship in that ship, but
right. So the New Republic also used the dagger shape in their later Star Destroyer designs. However, not all the vessels known as Star Destroyers adhere to the dagger shape aesthetic. Notable Star Destroyer manufacturers through the ages include Kowat Drive Yards, Rendale Star Drive, and the Republic Engineering Corporation. So, they have some manufacturers.
Yeah.
Or are they probably good manufacturers? I don't know.
Yeah. So the Republic, or the New Republic, actually does end up using Star Destroyers in some kind of form. I thought the Rebellion stick to like Corvette-style ships and the Moncala class of ship.
They do. I think they mainly used them as like when they need to go into heavy battle, but I know the Republic itself, I mean, you see this in the films, and you see obviously we see in Legends, they prefer ships with more mobility over power, and obviously there's a reason why, because they kind of won the war with that. But yeah, I mean you have already like built Star Destroyers, and why not use them? I mean, it's kind of like ships going to waste.
I guess that's true.
Gotta use what you got until you like bring the galaxy back together.
I guess that's true.
So, and then we get later iterations. Even though the Galactic Alliance continues and produce Star Destroyers, they later decide to name their new ships Battle Carriers in order to avoid reminding people of the old Imperial terror symbols. By the time of the Sith Imperial War, the resurgent Empire utilized Pelion class Star Destroyer, which was most described as one of the largest and most powerful warships of its time, with unparalleled weapon systems. And then the Sith Empire, led by Darth Krayt, later constructed the much bigger and heavier armed Imperius class Star Destroyer, the Imperius, which was stolen by the Galactic Alliance regiment led by Gar Stizy when it became operational. So Darth Krayt built this giant death machine of a warship, and then it gets stolen right from under him right when it goes live.
Let's, you know, the Sith really do have just like this fatal flaw of, I need to build the biggest thing I can and then tote it around and show it off.
Yep, and then what happens? It either gets blown up or gets stolen.
Right.
Huh.
Ooh. And then, but yeah. So, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, just that the Pelion is General or Admiral Pelion or whatever. He was one of the Imperial defectors to the Rebellion. At one point or something. Or from the Remnant to the New Republic.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. You can find him in a lot of the Legends books.
It's mainly, this is after Luke and Leia's time, if I'm correct, right? Or is it during?
About the Pelion class, he's during Luke and Leia's time.
Oh, okay.
He dies probably about 30 to 40 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually assassinated, but it's a whole big thing. But
go figure. But yeah, that's what we got in Legends for the Star Destroyers and Venators. So, ready to take a mid break?
Always.
This summer, say I do.
I am marrying a stranger.
Like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts.
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name is Paul Brunson.
More couples.
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
And more surprises.
Or maybe not.
Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight, now streaming. New episodes Thursdays, only on Peacock.
Hello and welcome to the middle of the show where we talk about all things that have to do with the podcast, but not necessarily the lore of Star Wars. It is this time that I will thank our patrons for coming on and being great patrons and supporting us. We had a great patron chat last week, and it was a lot of fun.
It was. It was a lot of fun going over different fights and all that.
And so if you want to join us on that, you can find the link in the episode description or at Patreon/Holocron Histories or whatever the website is. And you can sign up to various tiers there, whether that's the lowest one, which gets you ad-free episodes, or all the way up to some of our higher ones, which include coming up on the show and hanging out with us once a month, which is a lot of fun. And so you can do that, and we love that. I think we're up to date on all our patrons.
Yes.
Okay. And then another way to support us is to leave us reviews on Apple or Spotify. This is a great way to boost the show and let people know that you really like the show and appreciate the show. And so you can do that on Apple or Spotify. If on Apple, you leave us 5 stars and some words, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. And we do not have a review to read today. So I think that's all I got. Oh, and you can join us on the Cups Podcasting and More Discord. We hang out there and talk about all kinds of podcasting stuff. Or you can join us on the Robots Radio Discord, where you can find all kinds of amazing podcasts and all that kind of fun stuff. You can find us both there under Teacup and Ben of Temeria. And those links are in the episode description. I think that's all I got from mid-break. You got anything, Ben?
No. I mean, other than, if you want to hear more of me, I was on this past episode of the Witcher Lorecast filling in for Tom because he was out on vacay. So I was on that show. So if you want to listen to more of me, go to Witcher Lorecast. But other than that, I am here and always will be here.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get back into Star Destroyers.
Sweet.
This episode is brought to you by Tidy Cats, here to level up your litter game with their new Performance Plus lineup. Your home is your happy place, your cats, VIPs. So when it comes to the litter box, excellence isn't optional. Choose from products that specialize in max power clumping, low tracking, or odor fighting so advanced, stink won't see it coming. Tidy Cats Performance Plus. Mission mighty, keep it tidy. Shop now at tidycats.com.
And we are back from the break. So now we get to go into the canon of Star Destroyers. And, oh boy. I mean, this is the main warship you're going to see. So, during the Clone Wars, the Galactic Republic Navy fielded a fleet of Venator-class Star Destroyers. The Venator-class saw action numerous battles against the Confederacy Navy, including the Battle of Coruscant. Following the transformation of the Republic into the Galactic Empire, the Republic Star Destroyers were incorporated into the new Imperial Navy. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can they destroy stars? Like, where does their name come from? Like, I've always wondered that, because we only ever see them, like, ships. The closest we get is the class of Star Destroyers in the sequels, in Rise of Skywalker, that are basically portable Death Stars.
That is true. I mean, if enough firepower hits a star, I would imagine. I mean, if we're talking about Star Destroyers, I mean, just an orbital bombardment from a Star Destroyer can level an entire cities.
I guess that's true. And now that
we
I
see
think
that
about
in Terrace.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, a destroyer is a class of Navy battleship, like in our real world. And so, like, we often see like Starfighter is a like fighter jet that travels the stars. So I guess that's the same kind of thing. Like, a destroyer is much more of a slow-moving, heavy bombardment battleship in the Navy. And so a Star Destroyer is just the space version of that.
Yes, it is. And yeah, destroyers are, in real life, destroyers are really cool if you have never been on one. My brother's stationed on one, so it's interesting. But yeah, they literally just blow stuff up, and they have a lot of weapons.
Not to be confused with droidicas, who are called destroyers once by Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace.
Good point. That is true. That's completely different. Aside from the Venator and the Imperial-class Star Destroyers, other known models in the Imperial service include the Victory and the Sector-class Star Destroyers. During the Rebellion and the Galactic Civil War, Imperial Star Destroyers took part in numerous engagements against the various rebel forces that eventually colossicide into the Alliance to restore the Republic, or, the Rebel Alliance. Star Destroyers were deployed during the secret missions on Tatooine, Battle of Hoth, and the Battle of Endor. And secret mission to Tatooine? Was that when... I'm trying to think when that was. That's not when R2 and C-3PO landed, was it?
I guess that would be something. I mean, you could say that's a secret mission. I doubt that the Empire wants to broadcast that they lost the plans to their all-impressive battle station.
Good point.
Here's a question. Now this is a little off topic, but why didn't the Empire just blow up Tatooine when they knew the droids were on there? Like, why didn't they just... Wouldn't it be safer to just blow up Tatooine than... that would have solved...
Literally movie everything.
Over. Movie over.
Yeah. Empire wins. Done. I mean... My only guess would be because the Hutts control it.
Oh, I guess that's probably true.
And they just don't want any backlash from the Hutt Council. Is what I would guess. But I don't know what they would do against the Empire. Because it's the Empire.
And against the... And as far as we know, that's the only copy of the Death Star plans.
That's true.
So if they destroyed it, they might not be able to fix the Death Star if it causes a problem because they don't have the plans, but I mean, wouldn't it have made sense just to blow up Tatooine?
It would.
Minimize the risk?
They weren't thinking. I mean...
You wouldn't have made... That's not as good as a movie.
I mean, it would have made sense for Vader just to, alright, do an order of bombardment on this part of Tatooine specifically. Why there? Just because it's sand.
And I feel like Vader would be like, "Oh, you want to blow up Tatooine? Like,
yeah, let's do it.
Can I push the button?"
Oh my god! Yeah, he would have jumped that on that in a heartbeat. Oh my god! Yeah, that is a good question. Why just blow out Tatooine? It solves the everything. You take out Luke, you take out Obi-Wan, you take out both droids. Done.
I mean, I guess that Yoda at some point probably might have known that Leia was on the Death Star. And so maybe he would have sent some kind of rescue attempt.
Maybe. Who knows?
But, yeah. But also Han is dead now. And
Chewie. Yeah, literally everyone that was going to be a thorn in the side of the Empire. Except for Leia. Yep. Leia was the only one. So, following the events of Endor, the Rebel Alliance successor government, the New Republic, captured and destroyed numerous Star Destroyers in several engagements, including the Battle of Theed, the Rebellion on Akvia, the Battle for Kruat Drive Yards, and the liberation of Kashyyyk by 5 ABY. Grand Admiral Ray Sloan estimated that 75% of the Imperial Star Destroyers before Endor had either been destroyed, captured, or lost in confirmable, if curious, ways. So, compared to Legends, they are just destroying these ships, like, left and right.
Yeah. But now I'm curious at these lost in confirmable, if curious, ways. I wonder if there's some protocol where Palpatine had in place that those are being shipped to Exegol.
Oh, I would imagine. Like, it would have been something. I mean, he had a plan of taking out the entire hierarchy of the Empire when he, quote unquote, died the first time. So I'd imagine he had some sort of plan that, hey, they get like rerouted somehow.
I mean, his whole plan of, like, Operation Cinder is basically like, well, if I can't have the galaxy, no one can.
Yeah. Take them all out. But in reality, he was still alive. Yeah. So while trawling through the archives of the Hall of Imperial Register on Coruscant, Sloane discovered that the remaining 25% had mysteriously disappeared and their purported destruction had been falsified. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. They were taken somewhere else. Oh, I wonder where. And then later, Sloane learned that the Fleet Admiral Gallus Rex secretly commanded Imperial fleets and the Almagest, the Recluse's Nebula, the Quinulon Nebula, the Rolu Triangle, and the Imotara. Yeah, Star Wars words can be hard. These fleets consisted of hundreds of Star Destroyers and thousands of smaller ships. So, interesting. Following the attack on Trandrilla, Rax ordered the Imperial fleets to assemble above the planet Jakku. Numerous Star Destroyers, including Captain Celine Ree's Starship Inflector, saw action during the Battle of Jakku, the cataclysmic battle that ended the Galactic Civil War in favor of the New Republic. And if you play Battlefront 2, you get to play in that battle. And yes, it is very hectic.
Yes. I just don't know why they invented a new desert planet.
I mean, space.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but, like, Tatooine is right there.
True, and if you actually look at the star maps,
it's right there.
Well, I think Jakku's in the mid-rim compared to where Tatooine's in the outer rim.
There is no way Jakku is in the mid-rim. No. That is an outer rim world if I've ever seen one.
Let me see here. Jakku is in the inner rim, surprisingly. What?
Jakku's in the inner rim? The inner rim?
I think that's what this says. Let me just double check.
Near like the Hansian system and Coruscant and all of that?
Some of these star maps are not the best. Takodana. Yeah, it's in the... It's not by Coruscant, so I would say it's close. It's not in the core world, so that's where Coruscant's at. In the core worlds. But it's in the inner rim, so it's the rim outside of the core. It's actually not terribly far from Rakata Prime and Takodana.
Rakata Prime is in the... Well, I guess, yeah, it is in the inner rim, because the star map that shows it is interesting.
Yeah, it's... Yeah. When I saw that when Jakku... I was looking at Jakku, and I was like, wait, inner rim? That doesn't look like the inner rim planet. Inner rim planets are supposed to be lush.
Everyone take note at my time, 8 p.m. on August 5th. I was wrong.
So, 30 years after the Battle of Jakku, the barren surface of Jakku was still littered with the wreckage of countless Star Destroyers. These direct starships were regularly targeted by scavengers such as Rey. So, Force Unleashed, which we fully see. And we actually see, like, how real big, like, what the inner workings of a Star Destroyer is, besides seeing it in, like, Rebels.
Right, like, the Falcon flies through them.
Yes. And then the First Order remnant of the Old Empire, also known to utilize Star Destroyers as part of its fleet, such as the First Order's Resurgent-class Star Destroyers, which were inspired by the dagger-shaped design of the Old Empire's vessels. So, yeah. No surprise there that they, copy everything. Then classes, we get the Star Dreadnoughts, the Executive Class Star Dreadnought, also known as the Super Class. Star Destroyer was the largest model of the Star Destroyer ever built by the Galactic Empire. It was usually referred as a Super Star Destroyer and consisted of submodels, the Executor 1 class and the Executive 2 class. 19,000 meters long, it was used as a command ship and had over 5,000 turbolasers and ion cannons. Holy crap. That's a lot of guns.
And it's taken down by a suicidal A-wing pilot.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's not really suicidal because he's like hit and he flies into the command center.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The Mega-class Star Dreadnought, also referred as the Mega-class Star Destroyer, was the capital of the First Order and its supreme leader at 13,000 meters in length and the wingspan of 60,000 meters. The Mega-class was wider than it was longer. The sole example of the model, the Supremacy, was used by Supreme Leader Snoke in the First Order Navy to attack the Resistance. So we see this ship in...
Last Jedi.
Yes, The Last Jedi, that movie. Which we see what happens to that one.
Now, okay. Circle back to the Star Destroyer. If, like, something like the Supremacy or the Executor used the Holdo maneuver.
Ooh.
See, this is the problem with the Holdo maneuver. Like, yes, it's awesome and it's cool and it looks great, but, like, when you apply it to the rest of the universe, I think you could destroy the galaxy. Like, if you use the Holdo maneuver with a Star Destroyer in the core of the galaxy,
you could rip through a planet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could rip through
probably
and like
would.
just create a massive black hole. I mean, maybe that's how the Maul was created. Who knows?
Possibly.
See, I'm just coming up with all kinds of theories here. You know, Lucasfilms, pay me to do things.
Hey, Filoni, if you're listening, we have ideas for you. So now we get to the battle cruisers. These were multiple examples of Star Destroyers that were classified as battle cruisers during the galactic history. The Maelstrom class battle cruiser was used by the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars, was primarily mothballed by the Galactic Empire, and at least one example, the Simone, was used by the Alliance to restore the Republic. The Maelstrom class was considered to be a proto-Star Destroyer and was armed with assault, concussion missile launchers, heavy cannons, and other weaponry. The Maelstroms were used in planetary sieges, orbital bombardments, fleet command duties, and other roles. So, they bombed places. The Sector class Star Destroyer, also identified as the Sector class battlecruiser, was another example of a battlecruiser in the Star Destroyer designed family, being multiple kilometers in length. The Sector was used as a carrier and command ship by the Galactic Empire, and was possibly the largest starfighter dedicated vessel in the Imperial Navy. So, I want to say this is the type of class Star Destroyer we see in Rebels that they took over and used as a command base. Because you could house multiple ships. Because it was a carrier.
I think you're right on that. Yeah. Which, I guess, you know what? Back to my other point. That is used in a Holdo maneuver. In Rebels.
Holy crap, it is.
Yeah, at the end of season 3 to make them escape. So, there we go. Dave Filoni beat us to it, man.
Darn it! The Empire's successor state, the First Order widely deployed the Resurgent-class Star Destroyer, alternately designed as the Resurgent-class battlecruiser during the Cold War and the First Order Resistance War. The Resurgent was a 2,915 2,915 meter long warship that featured advanced weaponry and systems. And then, according to the Annex War College system, the Sith internals, Zeistun's class Star Destroyer, a 2,406 meters, was a battlecruiser. The Zeitun was a model of Star Destroyer that was based on the upscaled Imperial 1 class design. The Zeitun class possessed heavy weaponry, including the axial super laser cannon, which had the capability of destroying entire planets. So basically, it had the Star Destroyer laser on it.
Oh, interesting.
Why they for Storage just didn't deploy more of those, and so using a giant planet weapon is beyond me. They would have had a lot more done, in my opinion.
I think it's because Palpatine, when it comes down to it, is just a sucker for the drama.
Fair point.
He wants the most dramatic entrance possible.
That's a good point.
The man installed a spinning chair in his office so that he could turn.
True.
Why did he need that spinning chair in his office and on the Death? Why do you need a spinning chair on the Death Star?
So he can look outside the port?
And then turn around dramatically.
Good point. Yep. Crap.
See? That's the Sith's fatal flaw, is that they live for the drama.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why.
So then we get to cruisers. So the Republic's Acclamator class assault ship was a 752 meter long cruiser that was considered to be a proto Star Destroyer. Its subvariants were the Acclamator 1 class and the Acclamator 2 class, and it was used as a carrier and transport for troops and vehicles to planet surfaces. And then you get the Venator class Star Destroyer, a class of cruiser, 1,137 meters in length, was also referred to as the Republic Attack Cruiser or Jedi Cruiser, that was considered a proto-Star Destroyer. It consisted of two subvariants, the Venator 1 class and the Venator 2 class, and was extensively used by the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars and by the early Galactic Empire. So, this is the Star Destroyer / Venator you see all the time during the Clone Wars TV show and also Episode 3. When, the first sequence you see Obi-Wan and Anakin coming in their Jedi Starfighters, the Star Destroyers you see that are painted red and gray, those are Venators. And then the successor of the Venator class, the 1,1600 meter long Imperial class Star Destroyer, was also classified as a cruiser. The Imperial class consisted of the subvariants Imperial 1 class and Imperial 2 class, and the Interdictor class. The Imperial class became symbols of the Empire's new order. The Interdictor class Star Destroyer, also known as the Interdictor class Heavy Cruiser, was a class of heavy cruiser that also part of the Star Destroyer family ships used by the Empire. Lots of same words. And then it was a 1,129 meter long and was equipped with 4 gravity well projectors to serve on capacity as the integrated vessel. The Onager class Star Destroyer was also classified as a cruiser class and was equipped with a super weapon that could destroy targets on the surface of a planet or entire fleets. Which I want to say the Interdictor class, since it has the gravity wells, I want to say it's kind of like... Oh, shoot. The ones that can maybe pull out of hyperspace? Right?
Yeah, it's definitely those.
Okay. And then another cruiser in accordance with the Annex War College system, Gladiator class Star Destroyer was the smallest Star Destroyer in the Empire's arsenal at 600 meters in length. Despite its size, it was regardless heavily armed and was deployed as a patrol ship and escort. It could serve the capacity of a flagship for a small task force and battle group. The Gladiator 1 was a submariner of the ship. And I want to say the Gladiators might be the battle cruisers we see in Rebels as the small Star Destroyers. I want to say Ezra sees one and is like, oh, that's a Star Destroyer. And everybody looks around and it's like, no, that's not a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, it's just like a light cruiser kind of thing. I can't remember its exact name. I'll remember when we hang up this Zoom call. I'll remember then. But I don't remember now.
Yeah. But that's what we got in canon.
All right. So in summary, Star Destroyers don't destroy stars. I should write for Lucasfilms. And at 8 o'clock, I was wrong.
I guess that's a good summary of the episode. And if you're all traveling in space, don't make a Star Destroyer mad, because they blow things up.
Everyone gets bored at sometimes.
A fair point. I mean,
sometimes you got to drop your cargo load, and even in the light of an Imperial light cruiser, and even if that means that you're going to get a bounty on your head and end up frozen in carbonite.
I love that reference as a full Han Solo reference. Because that's exactly what he did.
Anyway, yes, stay away. And also know that if you can just list slightly to the left, that's a maneuver that can outrun a Star Destroyer.
That is true, because they don't have the greatest mobility.
Yeah.
Or
that's all they do. In A New Hope, Han goes, "Don't worry, I know some few maneuvers," and it literally just shows it's the same clip, but slightly the Millennium Falcon's just going a little bit to the left. And so in Family Guy's little spoof on that, they're like, "Oh, he's listing lazily to the left. This guy knows some maneuvers."
I need to rewatch those. Those are hilarious. I just love Stewie being Darth Vader, honestly. That's the best part.
It really is. But anyway, I think that's it. Thank you for listening to the Holocron Histories podcast. Next week, we are talking about another starship, I think.
Yes, we are going to be talking about, I think I have it set for the X-Wing.
The X-Wing.
So,
my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next week on the Holocron Histories podcast. Thank you for listening.
And may the Force be with you. Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWHoloHistories and contact us at holocronhistories@gmail.com.